Have you ever had this happen to you? You're in China. Going to work. Clocking in. Grabbing coffee. Living a perfectly normal life. Then suddenly, ding. Your phone buzzes. A message from your bank card has just been used for a transaction overseas. You freeze. Overseas? I haven't even left the country. Your passport is sitting in a drawer. Your bank card is right in your pocket. You didn't lose it. You didn't lend it. You didn't give your PIN to anyone. Your first thought is probably, is this a scam message? But the real shock comes next. You rush to the bank, nervous and confused. And the bank calmly tells you, our system shows the transaction was successful. You may have to bear the loss yourself. Wait a second. You didn't go abroad. Your card didn't go abroad. But somehow, your money did. So here's the big question, who's supposed to take the blame? Today's real-life case is basically a financial mystery thriller. Your bank card is stolen and used overseas, should the bank pay? A Chinese court gave a very interesting answer. Let's meet our main character. We'll call him John. John is a foreigner working in China. Like many expats, he lives here, works here, pays taxes, and pays rent. He opened a very ordinary debit card at a Chinese bank. What does he use it for? Getting his salary. Withdrawing cash. Grocery shopping. Ordering food once in a while. No investing. No crypto. No risky financial moves. In short, John is a textbook example of an ordinary bank customer. One completely normal workday. John is sitting at his desk, ready to get back to work. Ding. His phone lights up. It's a bank alert. Multiple cash withdrawals detected. But here's the key detail, location, overseas ATM. John instantly wakes up. Because at that exact moment, he's in China. His card is with him. He hasn't left the country. And he definitely hasn't used an overseas ATM. This isn't just a little strange. This is very wrong. John realizes one thing, his bank card has likely been stolen and cloned. John doesn't hesitate. He immediately calls the bank's customer service hotline. He's very clear, these transactions weren't made by me. I'm in China. The bank's response is professional and by the book. We recommend you immediately freeze the card to prevent further losses. Sounds reasonable, right? But here comes the critical moment. John explains, I don't know how to freeze the card by phone. That's why I'm calling a human agent. And so, the card is not frozen. No emergency stop button is pressed. At the time, John probably thought, it's just inconvenient. I'll deal with it later. But later on, the court would repeatedly point to this moment and say, this was one of the turning points of the entire case. The next day, John gets more messages. Not one. Several. Same pattern again, overseas ATM, cash withdrawals. One transaction after another. And during all of this, John is still, in China. Holding the card. Never separated from it. This is a classic case of cloned card fraud. The money keeps disappearing. The amount is significant. And honestly, John is heartbroken. After the repeated thefts, John takes action fast. He does 3 things in a row, goes to the bank in person. Reports the case to the police. Applies for a replacement card. His demand is simple, bank, reimburse the stolen money. Unfortunately, when it comes to whether to pay, and how much to pay, John and the bank cannot reach an agreement. The bank remains calm. Very calm. Very official. Their response sounds like this, the correct card number and PIN were used. The transactions passed system verification. There was no system malfunction. Translated into plain English, our system worked fine. This isn't our fault. In other words, the money is gone. But the bank says the responsibility isn't theirs. Negotiations fail. So if talking doesn't work, you go to court. John sues the bank in a Chinese court, demanding compensation for the stolen principal plus interest. This isn't just about the money. It's about accountability. Money doesn't just disappear for no reason. John's argument is actually very straightforward. I deposited my money into the bank. The bank has a duty to keep it safe. If my money was stolen, the bank owes me an explanation. His logic is simple: I didn't withdraw the money. I didn't leak my PIN. You failed to identify a fake card. So this money should never have left my account. Eventually, the bank admits one thing: yes, the money was stolen overseas using a cloned card. But instead of fully accepting responsibility, the bank draws a line. Their argument is, we told you to freeze the card. You didn't do it. So the losses on the second day were expanded losses. We shouldn't pay for everything. In one sentence, the bank's position is, we may share some responsibility on day one, but day two is on you, you didn't hit the brakes. At this point, it's clear, both sides agree the card was stolen. The real dispute is, who should bear the loss? The bank's unspoken message is, if the system works and procedures are followed, the risk shouldn't fall on us. John's response is just as clear: I'm a depositor, not a hacker. I shouldn't pay for risks outside my control. Now the case officially enters the legal stage. The key issues become very clear. Did John do anything wrong? Did the bank fulfill its duty to protect account security? Who should bear the risk of overseas card fraud? And now, it's the court's turn to answer. So how does the court see this? First, the court does something very important: it defines the legal nature of the case. The court rules that this is a deposit contract dispute. That sounds technical, but it matters a lot. Because it means, the bank is not a neutral platform. It has statutory obligations. Most importantly, the duty to protect deposit security. If the bank's fault causes a loss, the depositor has the right to compensation. How does the court evaluate the bank? Very clearly. The bank is not a bystander. It is the card issuer, the system operator, the primary party responsible for ATM transaction security. Simply put, the bank has a duty to identify fake cards. So if a cloned card can withdraw cash from overseas ATMs, that means the bank's security measures failed. And here's an important point the court emphasized: the bank's duty doesn't stop at giving a reminder. Once the bank knew the customer hadn't frozen the card, it should have considered stronger risk control measures. That's part of the bank's responsibility. But does that mean John is completely innocent? Not exactly. The court was very clear: after being warned to freeze the card, John failed to take immediate action to stop the loss. So he also bears partial responsibility. After reviewing all the evidence, the court lays out a clear framework. First, there's no evidence John leaked his PIN or acted with gross negligence. Second, the bank is a professional institution with far stronger risk control ability. Third, when the depositor's fault cannot be proven, fraud risk should not automatically fall on the consumer. Final judgment: the bank must compensate John for part of the stolen money plus interest. Not full compensation. But not zero either. Why? The bank failed its security duty, so it must pay. John didn't stop the loss in time, so he shares responsibility. This isn't about right or wrong. It's about sharing loss based on fault. This case gives us three very practical lessons. First, in a deposit relationship, banks are not neutral platforms. They are risk managers. Banks are not automatically exempt when fraud happens. Identifying fake cards is a legal duty. If the risk isn't caused by the depositor, the bank can't simply say, "transaction successful," and walk away. Second, if depositors don't act quickly after detecting abnormal transactions, they may have to bear part of the expanded loss. Third, and most realistic, courts don't ask who feels worse. They ask, who has greater ability to control the risk, and that party bears more responsibility. One final friendly reminder, if your bank card shows abnormal activity, freeze it immediately. Many losses aren't stolen. They're delayed into existence. The faster you act, the smaller the loss. Protect your PINs and verification codes. Turn on transaction alerts. Check your account regularly. Hopefully, you'll never need this knowledge. But if you do, it might just save your wallet. Stay safe, and happy banking. China Case. Telling real cases from China's courts. Want to explore more vivid and authentic legal stories? Subscribe to China Case. And gain real insights into China's legal world.